Hi everybody and welcome back to SEO Ninja. My name is Tristan and today I wanted to first take advantage of my new background, which is actually I just switched my computer around so that way you're seeing the wall that I normally look at, but I like it. And also to answer one of the questions that I've been receiving a lot lately, and that's simply, Tristan, are you still using Weebly? And if you are using Weebly, how come? If you're not using Weebly, what are you using instead and how come? So the short answer to that is we're not using Weebly as much as before. And honestly, the reason for it is price. Right now we have quite a few websites that we're managing. We have quite a few clients that we're working with. And having 10, 20 websites on Weebly that are going for anywhere between $10 and $20 a month, it starts to get really expensive. And there's just a lot of other options out there that are less expensive that allow us to do the same things that we're doing anyways, and give my designer who's over here a little bit more freedom as far as the designs and the sites that she builds. And so for that reason, we've actually switched the vast majority of our websites over to WordPress. We're currently using a plugin / theme thing that's kind of Weebly-esque called Divi. And it's really cool. It's actually way less expensive. It's a single license. The yearly cost for it's like $60, $70. And then a lifetime's license is what, $250? And so you can see that with the cost of what we normally spend in a single month, we can actually purchase this entire system for life and significantly cheaper. And that's not just for a single site, that's for as many sites as we want to build using the account. So like I said, right now we have maybe 10 or 20 different websites all running on Divi because it's a lot cheaper. Now there are some other benefits to it as well. A lot of SEOs prefer working with WordPress over Weebly or any other CMS that's out there that's not WordPress. And honestly, I think the reason for that is because of the plugin options that are available. Like, for example, if you want to do a schema markup, then there's a plugin for that. If you want to do caching, there's a plugin for that. If you want to improve your overall SEO, then a lot of people go for like Yoast or all-in-one SEO. Yoast is kind of going through a difficult time in its life right now, so maybe try to look more at all-in-one. But it gives you just some guides and some tips and some other little meters and graphs and things that you can keep an eye on to see if your page is fully optimized or if you're missing something. And so it does save a little bit of time. It does make the process a little bit easier. You can still actually do all of those things with Weebly. It's just more complicated. So as far as like functionality between the two, then that's probably going to be one of the biggest issues. Now, I do think that WordPress has a couple of drawbacks over Weebly. And specifically, it's one of the things that we've talked about quite a few times. I think I actually have a whole video on comparing WordPress and Weebly. But basically, it comes down to compatibility, right? So you can think of it as like the difference between a Mac and a PC. With a PC, then you have parts coming from all kinds of different places, from all kinds of different manufacturers, with all kinds of requirements. And a lot of times, or in some cases, then those different pieces and parts don't necessarily fit together perfectly. And you start to run into problems with the website, or in this case with the computer. And it gives you a few drawbacks. You lose some stability. And that can happen with WordPress. So for example, one of the issues that we've run into is that with the Divi theme, we actually had some problems with contact forms being sent out because there's a conflict between the Divi theme and the cache plugin that we were using. And so that kind of sucked. That we need contact forms to work, right? And so we had to go out and find a different plugin just for contact forms in order to make sure that we were able to fix that problem. But of course, we didn't realize we had that problem until we noticed that we stopped getting contact form submissions. And, that's one of the problems that's inherent with things like WordPress. You have hundreds of different developers all working on different plugins for the website or for, the platform, but they're not necessarily all that skilled in some cases. Or they're working with very specific things, and then that accidentally erases something that's supposed to go on in a different thing. Or like, shared file names, or, all kinds of different things that can cause problems with the website that goes up. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen enough that it's something you guys should be aware of. Now, the difference with Weebly is that it has a lot of those functionalities. You have the e-commerce, you have the blogging, and of course, just your standard website stuff, right? And it imitates a lot of the functionality that we have with different plugins. So for example, if you want to do an e-commerce site on Weebly, then it's really easy. You just go in and you open up the e-commerce section. Whereas if you're to do that with WordPress, you have to go and get something like WooCommerce or what have you. And it's just a whole bunch of extra steps. And again, you don't always have that perfect compatibility. Now, with e-commerce on Weebly, for example, then the entire e-commerce system was built by the exact same people who built the Weebly platform. Okay, it was built by people who know the entire code inside and out, and it was also developed to work specifically with that platform. Anytime there's an update, anytime there's any sort of change, then both sides of that are going to know it beforehand, and everything's going to be fixed and in place before that ever comes out. And so it becomes significantly more stable. And the same thing happens with a Mac computer. Apple doesn't really let other manufacturers create hardware for their systems because they want to control it. It's an enclosed system, and because of that, the systems just run really well. They're not as strong. They don't have as much ability to modify or to tweak or to customize as you do with a PC. But if you just want something that's going to turn on every time you want to turn it on, that doesn't freeze very often, or if at all, and that just is a very smooth running machine, you go with a Mac. And that's kind of what we have with Weebly. If you want a blog system that just blogs really well, Weebly's great. If you want an e-commerce, I think Weebly's one of the better ones out there. I would actually say Shopify and Weebly are about tied, in my opinion, for the best e-commerce platform. Shopify is built specifically for that, but Weebly's still pretty good. And then like WordPress is like number 5 on that list just because the WooCommerce stuff, and I hate dealing with it. But that's kind of that trade-off. So yeah, we're saving thousands of dollars a year by switching over to WordPress, but we're also losing out on some of that functionality or some of that stability that we would have with Weebly. So there are ways that you can overcome that. There are going to be times and situations in which one platform is going to work better than the other. I think the other thing that's important to remember, going back to like how the WordPress is supposed to be like the Swiss Army knife of website builders things, right? The CMSs, is that the platform itself was actually built to be a blogging platform. Okay, it was built to be a blog. When you install WordPress on like, your cPanel, for example, then it says, what do you want the title of the blog to be? What do you want the authors of this blog to be? It's asking you to create a blog website, a blogging website. It's not asking you, hey, do you want to build an e-com? Do you want to build, just a business site? Are you looking for like a video hosting thing? Are you building an e-course? It's asking, what kind of blog do you want to make? What do you want to name your blog? And it's been Frankensteined into what it is today. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's important to keep those kinds of differences in mind when you're deciding which platform you want to use. So my recommendation is to pick the one that's going to be easiest for you to work with. If you want to work with Weebly, use my affiliate link. If you want to use Shopify, affiliate link. If you want to use WordPress or Divi, I have an affiliate link for that one too. So, I'm not sure if that means I'm biased, but I'm biased towards all three. So I guess that means I'm not biased. So I don't know. Affiliate links are in the description. But, try them out, see which ones work best for you. And then once you've made that decision, once you're ready to, to pick a platform and stick with it, then that's the one you invest all of your time into. And if you have questions, if you have concerns, then, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section of the video, or, of course, you'll find my contact information in the description. And, we're here to help. I'm not necessarily a great designer. That's what she's for. But, if you have a question about functionality, have a question about optimization, or just ease of use, then, we're here to help, and we're happy to answer those questions as best we can. But that is my video for today. And again, I just kind of wanted to answer that question because it's popped up like 10 times over the last week. So hope that helps. And if you guys have any other questions, of course, comment sections is where those go. So have yourselves a great day. I'll see you guys in the next video.